back with us tonight, leading us off with the latest track of this. Hi, Ginger.
Hey, David, this storm should be a hurricane by tomorrow. Once it's in the Gulf, it is going to rapidly intensify, head toward the coast, make landfall Thursday night somewhere in the eastern panhandle or the Big Bend of Florida. Either way, major impacts well beyond that cone, and that's why we have widespread warnings, including the warning from Apalachicola to Tallahassee, Cedar Key, Crystal River. Tampa Bay is in that hurricane watch. Savannah, Georgia, even with a tropical storm watch. Let's talk about the #1 loss of life and property, that is storm surge. 10 to 15 feet, Steinhatchee, Cedar Key. Crystal River, 6 to 10 feet. That's a lot of water for those low-lying areas. 4 to 8 feet around Tampa Bay causes big problems in Sarasota. And then talk about the wind and timing. So the wind will start to pick up, especially Thursday. It's Thursday night when we see landfall. On this model, Perry has a 120-mile-per-hour gust. Then this thing cruises overnight. By 7 a.m., it's in western North Carolina with a 70-mile-per-hour gust at Asheville. It's not just the winds that will knock down power lines and trees all the way up into southern Appalachia, but that significant risk of flash flooding. Greenville, South Carolina is in there too. David?
Ginger Z, you'll have the latest on GMA first thing in the morning. Thank you. In the meantime, to the emergency unfolding outside Cincinnati, as I mentioned at this hour, the toxic inflammable chemical leak from a train in Ohio. Authorities just before we came on the air here tonight saying they are now concerned over the potential for an explosion in the hours ahead. They are hoses dousing the train. Thousands of families have been urged to leave the area. Homes and schools evacuated. And residents who are staying have been told to stay indoors, to try to seal their windows if they can. Gio Benitez with the images coming in now.
Tonight, the alarming scene. You can remember a train spewing a toxic chemical cloud into the air, sparking urgent evacuations in Ohio. Firefighters racing to the town of Cleves, about 30 minutes west of Cincinnati, spraying water on the rail cars. The company that owns the train saying one of its rail cars was venting styrene, a colorless, flammable, and highly volatile liquid used to make plastics and rubber. About 3,000 people near the scene urged to leave the area immediately. Schools put on lockdown and evacuated. Residents told to stay inside and seal off doors and windows.
With the heat up of the material in the car, that there is potential for an explosion.
It comes more than a year after a devastating train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, that caused a hazardous chemical fire to burn for days, leading to a massive cleanup.
And David, of course, as you mentioned, authorities tonight are very concerned about potential explosion. That's why this is such a big deal. And as you can imagine, environmental agencies are responding right now to that scene, David.
Gio Benitez covering this for us. Gio, thank you. Now to the escalating war between Israel and Hezbollah, with President Biden before world leaders at the UN today. The crisis escalating overseas. Israel launching a new round of airstrikes on Lebanon, saying they've now killed another top Hezbollah leader. Hezbollah firing back, some rockets actually getting through Israel's Iron Dome defenses. President Biden today in his final UN address as president calling for an end to the escalation, saying a diplomatic solution is still possible. Our chief foreign correspondent Ian Powell in Beirut again tonight.
Tonight, intense fire between Israel and Hezbollah. World leaders fearing a broader regional conflict with unimaginable consequences. The chaos and fear here on the streets of Beirut seen in videos circulating online. Israel saying it took out a top Hezbollah commander, but the militant group not commenting. Over the last